What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Shifting Lanes. My name is Hanson, and in this video you find me with the Tango Red Metallic 2022 Audi S3. This has the Premium Plus package, technology, black optic package, leather, and the S Sport package, which with destination brings the total price to $56,840. And I'll share with you my likes and dislikes about this Audi S3 so that you have a better idea before you buy. And if you learned anything new while watching this or have any feedback, comment it down below. And if you like this style of video review, make sure to hit that like, subscribe, and especially that notification bell button, because your views and your comments will keep this channel growing. I'll give you my summary up front. This Audi S3 is a fantastic sports sedan. It's fitted with a powerful 2-liter turbocharged engine. It's got a great slick shifting 7-speed dual clutch gearbox. It's got a great all-wheel drive system, and the ride quality is pretty damn good. And compared to the previous S3, this has a slightly wider track. It's a bit longer, and it's also making more power. So if you've been waiting to get into an S3, now's a good time. Design-wise, the S3 looks a bit tame on the outside. From a distance, there's not significant visual differences to make this stand out from the less exciting A3. However, if you look more closely, you'll notice that the brake duct areas look a bit bigger, the side skirts has a slightly more aggressive flare, and the rear end has the distinctive S3 giveaway, the quad exhaust tips, and the modest trunk lid spoiler. If you opt for the S Sport package, you'll get the racy looking red brake calipers, though in my opinion, the standard cross-drilled invented 14-inch rotors do an even better job of making this car look like a sports sedan. This specific S3 comes equipped with the black optic package, which adds a more aggressive looking 19-inch wheels with meatier summer tires. And it also adds blacked out exhaust tips, black roof, black exterior trim, and black mirror housing. Personally, I'd skip out on the black optic package because, in my opinion, the Audi S car should have the silver mirror caps, but that's just me. Now, on the inside, the Audi S3 is all business. This one comes equipped with the fine Nappa leather package, and that gives you the upgraded diamond stitching on the seats and the carbon Atlas structure inlays on the dash. These seats look and feel amazing. I love the S logo embroidered on it, and the white contrast stitching everywhere really makes it pop. As for wear and tear, this is a press vehicle and it has about 7,300 miles on it, and so far it's looking pretty good still. These seats are heated, but there's no ventilated seat option for the S3. There's also no heated steering wheel for the S3, so if that's important for you, you might want to check out the other models. Now, speaking of the steering wheel, I love this steering wheel so much. This feels great to hold, the material is really nice, and there's paddle shifters in here which you will want to use, and I'll explain that later. And then the buttons on the left-hand side controls all of your menu systems in the fully digital instrument cluster, and on the right-hand side, these buttons control the music and also if you want to talk to the car. The volume dial on the steering wheel is my preferred way of controlling the volume as opposed to this silly touchpad thing where you can rotate clockwise to increase the volume or rotate counterclockwise to lower it. The only weird issue I've run into with this volume dial, and it only has happened once, is when I tried to lower the volume, it actually cranked it all the way up. So it was kind of painful. And hopefully it's just a faulty switch with this specific example, but if you've run into this issue, please let us know in the comments below. As for the infotainment system, this is using a 10-inch touchscreen, and it also has handwriting recognition. The user interface isn't bad, the menu system layout is easy to understand, and the performance is snappy. However, the handwriting recognition system isn't all that great. Where do we want to go? Let's go to the Empire State Building. E M
P N G.
It's really tiring to put all of that down, and why even use that when the voice recognition system is even better? Empire State Building.
Pardon?
Empire State Building.
Please say a search term.
Empire State Building.
Could you repeat that again?
Empire State Building.
Searching for destinations. One moment, please.
It eventually got there. If you don't want to use the native infotainment system, you can use wireless Apple CarPlay or wireless Android Auto. There's also a wireless charging system in here, and the experience is on par with other wireless charging systems, which isn't so great. It's not all that reliable. There are two USB-C plugs up front if you want to plug in, or there's also a 12-volt plug for all of your other USB connections. As for the rest of the center console, there's a very open air concept with the very low profile gear shifter. And I also like that when you've pulled into a spot, you could just press the stop button and it'll put yourself into park. You no longer have to shift into park and then turn the car off. As for cargo space, this is a tiny car, so you shouldn't expect much room. There's 8.3 cubic feet of space in the trunk, and the rear legroom isn't bad at 35 inches. But if you've got some tall passengers, you might have to be a bit selective as to where they can sit. But enough about all of that. Let's go take this for a drive. So the benefit of this new engine is that it's making more power, 18 more horsepower and 15 pound-feet of torque more than the previous S3. So 0 to 60 should happen in about 4.5 seconds. Let's find out. Let's put ourselves in dynamic mode, turn off the stability control, and just punch it. $60. Pretty quick. And all of that shifting is done by the 7-speed dual clutch gearbox. This transmission shifts so smoothly, so crisply. The only problem I have with the 7-speed gearbox is that sometimes it doesn't know all of your intentions. These are computer systems after all, so it can't read your mind. The only problem is that when you're on the highway and you're just cruising and you just want to step on it, it does take a little bit of time for it to recognize that you're going full throttle, decides to step down a couple of gears, and then you could go. One way to circumvent that is to basically press and hold on the left paddle. That'll downshift a couple of gears so that you're in the right power band, and then you could really go. But again, those are situations when you're just on the highway and you're cruising. That's when you really want to use these paddle shifters. But aside from that, this thing shifts very crisply and smoothly. In terms of ride and handling, this thing rides really nicely. Now, this is a luxury car, and when you're just commuting, it's pretty serene in here. You don't get a lot of road noise from the outside, and since this has the adjustable dampers, you could set it at the most comfortable setting. But when you're at the track and you want to bump up that stiffness so you have better handling, you could switch it on the screen. And that reflects the driving modes as well. You have a comfortable driving mode where, again, that kind of softens everything. It lightens up the steering feel a lot. And if you go into dynamic mode, it goes the opposite way. It stiffens everything. It stiffens the ride so you have better handling, and it also makes the steering action just a bit heavier. And one bonus to the dynamic mode is that it makes the engine sound a bit more aggressive. Now, if you're thinking about shopping for the Audi S3, there's a couple of alternatives out there. You've got the BMW M235 xDrive, and you've also got the Volkswagen Golf R, which I've actually already reviewed before. Now, the Golf R is riding on the same MQB platform. That's also got a 2-liter turbocharged engine, and it's making a bit more power than this Audi S3. It also has a better all-wheel drive system, in my opinion, because that has drift mode. Now, the Golf R is a little bit cheaper, but I would say that this looks a lot better on the outside and also on the inside. This is a proper luxury car, whereas the Volkswagen Golf R looks like a Volkswagen. Now, there is a much better alternative to this S3, and that's the RS3, because that has a 2.5-liter 5-cylinder turbocharged engine. I've driven a 5-cylinder turbocharged car before. I had a 2005 Volvo S60R, and it was one of the best sounding cars I've ever owned. And that RS3 also sounds ridiculous. Now, that RS3 makes 401 horsepower and a lot more torque than this S3. Considering how fully optioned this S3 is, it's getting up to the point where it's more expensive than the actual RS3. Personally, I would just get the RS3 because, I mean, that thing is just bonkers. It looks more crazy. It's got a more powerful engine, and it's got a better all-wheel drive system that I believe might be similar to the Golf R, because that also has drift mode. Both of these have all-wheel drive systems, which they call Quattro, but for the RS3, there's actually multi-plate clutches on each side of the output shaft for the rear wheel, so that you could send more torque to one side, thus get drift mode. But anyway, back to the Audi S3. I love this thing so much. This drives really nicely. The all-wheel drive just puts down so much torque to the ground. And I love that 2-liter turbocharged engine making over 300 horsepower. That's the golden mark. And I mean, it just looks so good inside. I just love how this looks. The leather feels really nice. The infotainment system, you know, it's nicely laid out, it's logical, and it's not hard to find things on here. The fully digital instrument cluster, that looks great. And I mean, this is just a great looking car. Nice engine, nice transmission, great amount of grip. I like it a lot. Big thumbs up for me. Well, there you have it. That's my thoughts on the 2022 Audi S3. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you've learned something from this video, please consider giving us a like and also hitting that subscribe and that notification bell so that you can be notified anytime we make a new video. Let me wrap up this video right here. I want to thank you so much for watching all the way till the end. My name's Hanson, and I'll see you next time.